Well, hello there.
Hello.
So of course, after getting settled in, I tried to rush everything as per usual, half-assed everything, and shot a competition extremely poorly.
Boo this man!
One of the byproducts of this will be this video. So after taking 4 rifles to the range and re-zeroing them like a dumbass, I decided that I was going to go shoot a competition. And it was very short planning. My buddy Florida Man HVACR, who I shoot with, good guy, said, hey, I haven't seen you in forever. Let's go shoot a competition. And I scrambled to get everything done, which is my fault. Because I did want to shoot. I did want to hang out with him. And there's a lot of other people asking to hang out too. And I feel bad. I will try to get around to see everybody. But after re-zeroing it and changing my T6XI from the Mark 318 motto I can't source anymore to very expensive Black Hills 77 grain OTM with my quote-unquote plinking practice round being the Cellular and Below 77 grain OTM or hollow point boat tail, however they say it. It's the same damn thing. But as far as the bullet design, the Black Hills is loaded a little peppier. So the point of aim, point of impact isn't identical, but it's very similar. And after doing so, I now have 2 of the same optic on 14.5s. And they're both zeroed for the same ammo.
Hell yeah!
After doing so, something occurred to me, especially after shooting this competition that I did absolutely ass at. First competition in a couple years, but my fat ass could not shoot, and I have a lot of work to do. I've definitely gotten soggy after my knee surgery, more so than I'd like to admit. So I need to fix that as well. And even though they give you a couple weeks after a knee surgery to get better, it takes a lot longer than that. So all of the comments, I need everyone to do a rotation, by the way. Everybody in my video, every video for like the next 6 months, I need someone to say, get your fat ass in the gym, or the body is round, or something in the comments. Y'all can, you know, just make a comment thread, take turns, decide who's going up, or every single one of you can say something about me being fat. I need to get my ass back in the gym. I have been, but not as consistently as I need to.
The body is round.
And with this underway schedule, it's difficult. But no excuses. I need to get back where I was. Speaking of getting back where I was, to the point, this may be a non-factor for some of you. I know there's guys out there, gals out there that are much more sensible than I am. They have 1 or 2 rifles, maybe 3 tops, and they have restless rifle syndrome where they just change one rifle out constantly and rotate through many optics to try to figure out what they're trying to do. Whereas I buy multiple rifles and set them up differently and run them differently. That's not financially feasible for some of you. And for others, this video is going to be a, wait, you weren't doing that the whole time? Or no shit, Sherlock kind of video. While I was at the competition and I was shooting my other rifle with the same optic, I was using my holds and compensations for Mark 318 Mod O, which is not 77 grain OTM. And while this is zeroed for 5200, it's not the same holds and compensation between a 77 grain and a 62 grain. So while the zero's the same, the mill holds are not. And holding under is not. And I definitely found that out the hard way as I was shooting this match. So now I'm instituting same optic, same reticle, same round, through the same barrel concept. Now, as you know, this URGI in front of you is my primary fighting rifle. It has the Steiner T6XI 1:6x24 KC1 reticle. I really like this thing. It was originally zeroed, as I said before, for Mark 318 Mod O. I can't source it anymore, and while I took this rifle out to 616 yards, pretty decently.
So you're a little high on that last one. The windage was good. That was a hit. That was another hit. Okay.
I had to switch rounds. So, this. And I'm gonna take what's left of this, which is a couple mags, and mag dump it into trash out of my LMT 10.5 for the review later. But since I took all my optics out that day, again, trying to fit 10 pounds of shit into a baby sock, I very quickly shot the rifles and didn't get used to anything. I just shot them, did some quick stuff, zeroed it at the range, and then shot a 100-yard target with a 200-yard zero. And these are not small targets. They're about the size of this welcome mat that I assault you with every video. So it's not really a good representation of where my hits are, how to use the reticle, or anything like that. And I need to know these holds because this is my primary fighting rifle should something go very seriously wrong. And if I pick up this rifle, I need to know what it's going to do with this optic like the back of my hand. So anytime I look down a T6XI 1:6, I need to know with this reticle and this round through this barrel length, it does this. But I didn't shoot this rifle at the match. I shot this rifle at the match. So what's gonna help me suck less? Well, probably having a rifle that's just a competition rifle with absolutely nothing on the front of it. But what's gonna help me perform better, and I'm gonna do a separate video on why you shoot matches in the first place. And while this wasn't my range, it was with a different group of guys, and the distances were different than other competitions I've shot with different formats. It wasn't a 2-gun match, it was just a carbine match. I need to be able to look through the optic and know what my bullet is going to do. So what I'm going to do, and this is what everyone should do really, but y'all do what you're going to do anyway. I'm going to run the same zero with the same optic on the same platform with the same rounds. So that way I minimize as many variables as possible. And while I was struggling to make these 62 grain rounds work, and they did, honestly, for my URGI, it's not smart to have 2 separate rifles set up for 2 separate ammunitions. And it's also not smart to have such a wide diversity in my ammunition selection. And even narrowing it down to these, I still have 77 grain TMK through my HK MR556 because it shoots 0.65 to 0.75 inch groups. So there's absolutely zero reason to change that because it's so stupid accurate. And I'm not going to mess with success there. It just sucks because the rounds are made of unobtainium and I got to wait to buy cases once every 2.5 years. But I digress. What I've done here though is the Steiner T6XI through a 14.5 inch barrel in a Badger C1 170 mount with the same pistol grips on the rifle, the same stocks, and by and large the same setup. It has a Mark 16 rail, so I know exactly what it's like. And this rifle here is, despite the differences in what's forward with no suppressor attached, is very similar to my URGI with the suppressor attached. I'm also going to do a separate video on why matches are important and why doing different things is important and challenging yourself. But it's going to kind of be hypocritical of me because, one, I need to get my ass back in the gym harder than I've been doing it, and I'm not consistent on this setup yet. I haven't fired enough rounds of 77 grain through this optic with that zero, same thing with my URGI yet, so I can't reliably hit variable distances like I should. I can get there eventually, but not every situation in life is gonna allow me to do this. The other thing too is I was sitting there feeling like the spaghetti fell out of my pocket and just cold sweat, internal panic, because I'm sitting there shooting what should be easy and I get a hit and then try to shoot that same hit again and not get it because I didn't understand how I got it in the first place. I wasn't as stable as I should have been, and again, not trying to get DQ'd out of a match, moving slower than I should have, a whole list of things I did wrong, not excuses, piss poor performance. So assessing my performance in this video coming up is going to be interesting, but it'll serve as groundwork for how I progress throughout the rest of the year. And it'll show you that even though I was proficient in other things I did, now pushing outside of my comfort zone and doing so is very important. But the gear that you bring to the table, the rifle, the gear, whatever you want to say, the kit that you bring to the game is your responsibility. And moving forward, what I'm trying to do here is anytime I grab a 14.5 with a T6XI, I know what it's gonna do. And yeah, the triggers are slightly different. This is the SSAE-X and my URGI has an SSA. Functionally though, when I'm running them at speed or anything like that, it's really not that big of a difference. The only time I notice the difference in this trigger, it's not even shooting it quickly. It's when I'm on the bench or making a long range precision shot. So when I'm doing 100-yard groupings where I'm on a bag or on a backpack or on something, shooting for groups, that's when I notice the trigger difference. So fundamentally, have I standardized my 1:6 optic? Kind of. I'll get into that later. There's two other 1:6s I'm gonna play with. But by and large, my 14.5s are now standardized. So any 14.5 I have, if it has an LPVO on it, it's gonna be a Steiner T6XI 1:6 with a Badger 170. And it's gonna be zeroed for these rounds. And that's how I'm gonna do business. And if you have rifles with similar optics that have the same barrel length, you should do the same. So every time you pick up a 14.5, whether it has a red dot on it, whether it has a 1:4, 1:6, 1:8, a 2.5 to 10, a 3 to 15, 4 to 16, whatever it has on it, a Leupold Mark 5, whatever, it's the same. So if I have the same optic coming out of the same barrel length, it's zeroed for the same round. And that's going to shave a lot of variables in hold changes. Yes, I'm gonna have different rifles with different optics, with different zeros, with different ammunition. It's gonna happen. Again, my HKMR 556 loves TMK, and TMK behaves fundamentally different than an OTM. You see a massive performance difference in tipped Match King bullets because they have a better ballistic coefficient and they fly further. Because I wasn't practiced with this setup, and because I hadn't done my homework and I didn't shoot with the rounds that it's intended to use and all this other stuff, I didn't really learn the reticle. So I didn't know, hey, I'm not hitting with the center dot at 100 yards or 60 yards. I need to use the very top mil marker at the top of the circle to get my hit, which is what I figured out by the second half of this first stage. So there's 200-yard targets, one on the left, one on the right. On the left, I spent it was like between 5 and 7 rounds, I don't remember.
One. Hit two. One. Hit two.
Do you remember what Eric's time was? He didn't find your. But it's
versus me finally figuring it out after getting my last hit. On the second set, I missed way less and I got my hits a lot faster. But wouldn't it have been cool if I had already ironed this out before? I already knew my reticle, I already knew my holds.
Five. Got it.
One. Two. One. Two.
So it's partially, hey, standardize your shit so you don't fail. And then it's also, go practice with it so you understand it and know it. Because if you don't, then you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. The worst part is, despite this being my first match in years, I did not perform to any level of standard that I previously set. And I owed myself and my squad shooting that day a much better level of performance. And everybody was, you know, relaxed. We were all having a good time and everything. But I did not perform to the standard at which the other shooters on that team were, and I owed them better.
Move this man.
And I know this is going to scare some of you. Strap in. But this also entails shooting the 77 grain ammo to learn the reticle, which the just as good crowd and the pores will absolutely lament. Because it's outside the realm of tabletop gaming, show and tell, just as good, and the whole, I could shoot out to 500 yards if I needed to, when they haven't. It's crazy that you get better at tasks by actually doing those tasks, not talking about them while rubbing your fat guts. You might actually have to shoot your guns. Scary, I know. Just like I might actually have to get my ass back in the gym 6 days a week. Scary, I know. My couch is gonna be sad. But to bring it all home here, learn from my failure. Even though I made the changes I needed to make with the rifles, the optics, the ammo, getting everything zeroed, switching my 7.62 over to 175 grain, even though I did all that, that was only part of the puzzle and I didn't do the rest of my homework. And I need to go out there and get mileage from different experiences at different ranges, different shooting environments, and different weather. You know, getting out in the rain because it rained at the end of the match. There's a lot of different challenges that I need to push myself through with this, and it's going to take thousands of rounds to get there. It's going to be knowing my holds like the back of my hand, so I'm not doing this stupid, complex math while I'm out on the range and still missing. It should be, I know exactly what I need to do because I missed to this degree and I know what compensation I have to make on the fly. That's a better shooter. That's the kind of level of expertise that I need to bring to the game. And if I'm not bringing it, I need to get better. If you're not bringing it, you also need to get better.
Damn!
Make sure you get that experience, and again, you're not doing that complex math in a shitty situation when your life depends on it or when it counts for other people. Now, obviously, I love this optic. I'm getting other 1-to-6s for other projects, and I will go over those later at that junction. I'm also getting some other optics, and no, I don't just own Steiners. I'll be buying some Night Force and Trijicon optics moving forward, and one Delta Striker 1-to-6 for that crowd. But every LPVO equipped 14.5 from here out is going to be rocking a Steiner T6XI 1-to-6, and it's gonna shoot 77 grain because I said so. So let me know what you think in the comments. I know I've been gone for a little bit. I got a bunch of projects I'm gonna bust out, and I'm still gonna be in and out frequently. I have a lot of stuff going on, and things aren't gonna get consistent for me for another 6 months or so. So strap in for that. But as always, thank you for all the support while I've been gone. Everybody drop it into my comments and my posts, because that's all I have time to do lately. Thanks for watching. Take care out there.
The body is round.